it's been super useful to set the scene with a number of the data points that Ben has been showing. Yannick also articulating, the challenges of managing a sport-related platform and finding the right angles to approach such platforms. GP seeing, the complexity in the Middle East of running also a D2C service across so many countries in MENA and coming out of Australia in this case and trying to figure out how to succeed. That's definitely pretty inspiring, and I'm glad to know that fairly soon they may expand also in Europe and then potentially even in my own country. So great news to be partnering with Todd on this. And of course, Sumina's experience, we were just chit-chatting at the end. Often what I found out, I used to work for Apple and Philips, so pretty large organizations, and then a small organization like Philips, like Cleeng nowadays. And what you experience, in a small scale, you expect that it will solve as you get bigger, but the reality rarely it solves. And it's really every day's attention that you need to put into your services, your processes, to modernize them, to experiment and to experiment fast, so to be able to succeed and to differentiate yourself from competition. Because I guess all of us here, we all have competitors somehow, some way, and what we try to figure out is how to stand out and to be able to monetize our solution and services better than your competitors. And to some extent, that's what we'd like to continue on. How do we stand out and how do we differentiate ourselves with unique services? And this year in 2025, we've been introducing something very new in the industry. And I must say I'm very proud that we succeeded to introduce this new service because it's been long in the making. And we'll give you a glimpse and tell you why also we've been doing this and why it can be useful also for some of your activities that you are currently running. So just very briefly, I think most of you know already Cleeng, but I'm repositioning a little bit. It's one platform. We do everything from the operational standpoint and data standpoint with a single platform. It's a pretty complex platform, obviously. We have dedicated data lake. We have very advanced services for managing live sports. We've been very strong in sports throughout the years. Sports create unique complexities because of the extreme fast ramp when you start a season. And we've been learning a lot, how to handle this type of peaks of traffic. And GP was mentioning earlier, the entitlement checks. Dealing with entitlements at scale for sports is very challenging, especially if you have multi-channel. Because somebody may have subscribed on Apple and may watch on his TV or on his computer, so it's pretty challenging. A large part of our business is actually in the sport still today. Of course, NHL, Big Ten in the US, Danish channel. We've been working long with NFL, unfortunately, but we've lost as a client about 6 months ago. We did 3 seasons with them, grew about 10x their business, so we were pretty proud about that mega growth. They decided to change a bit path and strategy. This can happen with this type of mega clients. That's also the churn that we see in sport. I think you guys Ben was referring about the churn in sports. It's pretty crazy to see how much DAZN has been investing over the years, despite, let's say, these numbers that you show, right? They know the moment they lose the rights, everybody will churn. Really interesting to work in that space. We work also in other segments. Some is news related, some is a bit more like entertainment related, and we plan to expand even further in the future. One thing that we see changing at the moment, and I think all of us are pretty involved in that change, is for sure how social media is creating a complete new economy. Here I'm just referring to YouTube. 50,000 YouTube channels with more than 1 million subscribers. So that's very substantial if you think about it. Just earlier, we were at a different conference, and there was one person from YouTube actually speaking, and he was saying YouTube paid out 70 billion in 3 years to creators. You think about it, 70 billion. This is absolutely massive, and this is just YouTube. Next to that, of course, you have TikTok, Instagram, X, and a number of others. I'm not even referring to some of the more exotic platforms, but there's huge amount of content being consumed. So even though we all have subscriptions and we all feel this bit of subscription fatigue, so reality is that we are ready for that subscription fatigue. And if we are passionate about something, if you are into guitar or cars or well-being and fitness, you are ready to subscribe absolutely for a service at $5, $10, $15 a month. There's really no limit to this type of consumption. At least from what we see, it continues to expand pretty fast. There are also many agencies working on this. You know how many I was Googling earlier, because when I saw this number of 23,000 agencies developing apps, quite specifically, I was thinking, shit, but how many agencies there must be in the world if already 23 are developing apps? How many development agencies that you guys think in the world? Specific to tech, right? It's about 1 million.
Wow.
So it's about 1 million, and that excludes the developers which are on Upwork and this type of things. So it's absolutely massive. Just in the US, about 500,000 from the stats that I could find earlier out of some of the syndicates of agencies that are working on this. So big potential here, and I want to thank anyway, many of the agencies that we are working in here and that came. I see some people from Axido, Bagana, VideoDoc, and you'll see later Alpha Networks, and I may miss a couple, so sorry for that. But absolutely, we want to embrace further this group of agencies. And finally, in terms of big changes at the moment, is that all of these developers are using more and more AI. Who of you has heard about Lovable? You guys heard about Lovable? Those of you about
Not the fashion brand.
Well, it's a fashion brand indeed. Lovable is currently fastest growing SaaS company in Europe. They are on trajectory for 1 billion in ARR, 24 months after creation, and they do a website with a prompt. So if you think about it, it's clear a threat to many of the smaller developers. But this is absolutely a trend at the moment, that people want to experiment extremely fast. And talking about trends, of course, these trends are driven by what clients do expect. Clients expect at the moment very fast deployment. You cannot anymore run a cycle of RFP and deployment that will take 18 months, right? 18 months ago, Perplexity was barely existing, Lovable wasn't existing. So if you think about this, most of you go through this type of RFPs, right? It takes about 4 months before the RFP to start nurturing the relationship, 6 months of RFP, 3 months of signature of the contract, then about to launch. So it took you like a hell of a time in order to deploy. This is not adapted to nowadays, to AI age. So fast deployment is absolutely critical. The second element that is key is, of course, to deploy fast, it needs to be easy. And there, AI is also a fantastic tool. It's so easy to create a prompt, whatever you look for, whether it's market research, it's a new app, or even running a company. Sometimes you ask questions about how to handle conflict or how to deal with a particular situation, and you actually get excellent answers within seconds. So the ease of use of ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and many others is actually a key element of the success that they currently met. Third point is a seamless integration. I don't think any of us will try to do something entirely on your own, right, or on our own. Nowadays, you have to partner. You have to integrate various components. The market is moving too fast to have one solution that basically does everything perfect. You want to have the modularity that will allow you to pick up the right system for the problem that you currently face, and to be able to switch from one to another extremely quickly. And last but not least, various profile of users. One of the key persona that we interact with are typically the developers working on a given project. They are looking for excellent documentation. The need for documentation has increased even further. And if you think how LLMs are working, they depend very much on documentation, on data. So you need to have such an infrastructure with quality descriptions, SOPs, standard operating procedures, standardized data as well, so to be able to exploit it. And taking these requirements and this market evolution, that's why we developed Cleeng Pro. Cleeng Pro is a service that we launched 3 weeks ago. We decided to do this late summer, a bit before NIBC, sorry, because we want to go beyond the OTT space. This is also offered to platforms that are in the subscription space. I was seeing earlier somebody from Decathlon here. Also did off Decathlon, we've launched a subscription service. This could absolutely serve this kind of environment. eDreams in Europe has launched also a very successful subscription service. So if you think about it, direct-to-consumer subscriptions are expanding extremely fast. And what people want is this ability, as we said, to test quickly and to be able to see the value they're going to get with such a tool in record times. And we felt that at Cleeng, we had the right competency to do this, because when we started the company back in 2011, we made our name on turnkey pay-per-views. We used to do client calls and prospect calls, where we would start the call, literally, saying, hey guys, you want to launch a pay-per-view. We've been working for HBO boxing, for FIFA, for Cirque du Soleil, back then, so we did some pretty good big names. But we were also doing this for 10,000 different pay-per-views a year. And literally, at the beginning of a call, we would say, okay, give me your name, give me the name of the event that you want to do. And by the end of the call, your page was ready, the pricing was in place, we would publish it, and you were ready to sell. And that's how we started to exist as a company, and we started to sell pay-per-view events from Japan, Australia, Netherlands to the US. So we made a great experience there. And more recently, the last 5 years, we focused very much on enterprise subscriptions. So some of the large companies we work with, Univision, NFL, Optus, and a few others, they were all part of this enterprise subscription space. And we felt like the objective is to combine these two, so to be able to meet what market requires, which is simplicity, turnkey, and speed. And that's how we started with Cleeng Pro. So that's good. Any questions? Cleeng Pro simplifies this full stack. I won't go through each of these elements. And sometimes, speaking with analysts in the past few weeks, people were saying, but this really goes after the long tail SMB. So yeah, that's true. It's mostly targeting, well, typically, I hope, all of these clients of Vimeo that are wondering what to do next. And if they have a base of 50,000 to 100,000 subs, and they want something more appealing to try and to see, the statistics and best-in-class platform, they would come to experiment what Cleeng can offer along with our partners. But it's also very true for larger companies, like you would say BritBox or BBC and many others, where often the developers are frustrated by the lengthy process to get access to a free account and to be able to experiment quickly. Now, if you want to show to your boss, if you work like in a big corp, you're at Sky, at RTL, and you want to show to your boss, look, boss, the subscriber management platform that we have is good, to Sonia's point. There are some very good platforms, but when it gets to analytics, or when it gets to actionability, they are not as good. They are not as integrated as, I think, the best-in-class ones like Cleeng can be. And if you want to build quickly for your RTL boss a demo to say, look, I've been able to create this like in 24 hours. This is the type of dashboard that you're going to get. These are the KPIs that you will be able to see. These are KPIs that we were never so far able to try and understand. And now finally we can understand all this. So likelihood that this RTL boss will decide to say, yeah, well, that seems pretty interesting, why don't you go further, is pretty high. And that's exactly what we are trying to do with that solution. So, of course, the key market is SMB, as we would describe it, but we see this also as a hook to penetrate a number of enterprise accounts. And we've seen this also in the past. Of course, best to give you a quick demo about how this works. So to do this, I invite Damien, our VP of Product at Cleeng.
Thank you, Gilles. It worked. Thanks for that. Yeah. So listening to the excellent presentation from Ben, from JP, from Yannick, from Sonia. I guess how many of you have arrived at the conclusion that running a subscription business is extremely simple. Some of you may have been scared off forever, but hopefully we can do something about that. I think the one thing that is clear is, and has been said many times this evening, is that the subscription model as a means of monetizing consumer experiences is not going anywhere. It's here to stay, and I think everybody here has probably seen already so much innovation on a monetization strategy and in channel strategy inside of the subscription industry, but it continues to evolve, and we really still are in a rapidly changing environment. I think certainly AI, for much of the hype that is there, certainly the speed of the shortening of development cycles, the speed of product iteration, this is something that is having a massive effect on how new consumer experiences are being built, and subscriptions are the way that they are getting monetized. And I think another key factor that maybe we want to discuss so much this evening is the Supreme Court's ruling or non-ruling in the US around allowing people to monetize through the web, through direct-to-consumer channel from the App Store is a pretty big deal, and really has created a surge in interest in smaller subscription businesses wanting to control their D2C channel. So what does that actually look like when you want to take control of your D2C channel, when you want to move to the web? Well, there are certain things, of course, that are going to be required to make that happen. What you could summarize here on the left, and Gilles did not go through them all, but needing a subscription management platform, a PSP, tax compliance, a customer support platform, analytics. Pain is sort of maybe a short phrase to sum up what that means, because it means acquiring all these vendors, implementing all of their platforms, juggling the vendor relationships, optimizing the tools, getting the ROI from each of these tools individually, which is not an easy thing. You take tax alone. So when you're in the loving embrace of the App Store for their 30%, Apple is your tax department. And speaking as an Irishman, I can tell you they're pretty good in that part. When the government is going to court to not collect your tax, they're pretty good at their job. But that aspect of the business, being compliant, negotiating how tax works on the World Wide Web, you're very much on your own, right? And you need to learn how to do that yourself. And that's a scary prospect for many platforms, and it's one of the things that prevents them from going down that path. So the idea we had behind Cleeng Pro was not to give people a set of tools, but really to give them a growth engine that they could deploy themselves in under 60 minutes, and would allow them to rapidly accelerate their business by combining all of these capabilities that, from our perspective, we knew were battle tested at an enterprise level, and giving them all of that in a turnkey solution, as Gilles mentioned. So to Sumia's point, we were very clear on, we knew what the services that we wanted to support were searching for. We knew the types of services that could really benefit from this and the types of problems we wanted to solve from them. So what we really wanted to create from there was the simplest possible experience of actually making it real, right? Having a real, tangible, working platform that was live and ready to offer the customers inside 60 minutes. And so we built extremely simple structure whereby you would set up your pricing product strategy, you integrate your checkout and your support solution, so all the customer-facing flows. You would connect the analytics that you have from the store environment that you may already have up and running, and from there you would be ready to sell. And that was really the kind of crazy ambition at the beginning, was to take this rounded subscriber management suite that we had built over many years in the enterprise tier and make this available in under 1 hour. By just standing onto the Cleeng platform. So Gilles often asks us to do crazy things, so we tried. So once you start, we just built a very simple flow to take anyone really step by step, the usual parameter about the threshold of could I show my mother how to do this, and she almost succeeded, I have to say. The step one, as I mentioned, is, JP really spoke a lot about this, but having a mixed monetization strategy available at your fingertips, being able to build subscriptions, passes, a live event, or a single purchase if you need it, to be able to configure all of these different monetization strategies however you need to be able to localize a free trial in some countries if you need to, making that something that everybody can access and use from day one was the first part of the process, and that's something they can do tangibly inside of our platform. From there, it was a question of creating the customer experience. And here, of course, the thing we understood extremely well from working with enterprise brands, of course, as well is, the importance of every interaction feeling like the brand of the company whose service you're using. That every interaction feels like it's them in tone, in styling, in everything but the aesthetics of the flow itself. And this is something that we enable through hosted customer flows that were super easy to configure and super easy to align with your brand, but then could just be implemented with a single script. So by copying a single script, the entire e-commerce flow from sign up to purchasing the product to selecting the product was something that you could drop in a single line of script and will be up and running and active for the customers. One of the best things about this is that testing a new user experience, and when the CEO does call you 11 p.m. and tells you he wants to change the color of a button, it's easy to do it. It doesn't take you any time. But one of the things we also decided to do was to make the pre-integrated merchant of record part of this solution. So not only would you have that customer flow, but all those scary tax topics that I spoke about, chargeback management, fraud prevention, local payment methods that the guys have spoken about has really been critical to working and really been critical to scaling, was something that we were going to make part of this service, is that you could just with a flick of the switch enable this merchant of record solution and have that experience that you have inside of the App Store of not having to think about these problems, something that you don't have to think about on the web either. And that was a really big step. Another crucial part was activating a complete customer self-service solution with Cleeng. So the key to scalability, of course, is not having a huge number of interactions with every subscriber you have. So another key part for us was that we could make that customer self-service portal something that, again, could be just simply enabled where customers can change their plans, change their payment methods, and all these crucial things they need to do to stay as one of your subscribers. One of the ideas that we felt was really important, because it was so important to the company that we built over the last 10, 14 years, was customer care. And because D2C is always part of how Cleeng worked, and Gilles spoke about supporting live events right from day one, we felt that making customer care an essential part of this solution was something that we had to do, because when you're deploying a subscription platform, you're not deploying a billing engine, you're deploying a full customer experience. And so what we created was, again, with a single line of code, you could deploy an entire customer help center. But on top of that, what we were going to do, and what we have now done, is we've also made an expert human support solution part of this as well. So the support team that we have that doesn't just deal with some transaction issue that someone has, but understands how to support people with accessing their content, with different device issues, that is something that is now part of the solution for any service that will be deployed for them with one line of code, and that they get for free as part of the solution as well. So an entire customer support solution, fully aligned on a branding level as well with the company itself. The last thing that we really wanted to focus on was multi-channel is part of how Cleeng operates subscription businesses, and all the businesses we work with are multi-channel in nature, meaning that they're active in the App Store, in Android, that they're active on connected TVs as well. And so what we wanted to do is to tackle the problem of siloed, fragmented data and put all of that data in one place. So we added a solution to allow them with one click to connect all of their data from the App Store and bring all of that data directly into the Cleeng environment as well, meaning all of their analytics are available directly inside of here too. And the last one that we really felt we wrestled with for some time, but it's been a number of references this evening to the importance of understanding the experience in every store and every touch point, and the importance of having entitlement management across every channel where you're distributing your content and where you're using your product. So what we have decided is that when you work with a Cleeng partner, we actually will automatically manage entitlements across all of the different stores. So multi-channel entitlement management, plus the synchronization of all those subscription lifecycle events is actionable data, to Gilles' point, is something that now is available at a click as well. All of this get you live in about 60 minutes, and when you are, we have made available an analytics suite with about 40 plus KPIs that are available, including lots of retention insights, so some aspects of churn IQ we've made available too, meaning that you have your business operational, but very quickly the data that you get is being formulated into types of retention insights you need to continue to grow and continue to scale. And all of this, to Gilles' point, we make available as free up to 10,000 subscribers, and that is within 60 minutes your business is live and you're building your subscriber base on the web. So thanks very much. I hope you guys have some comments. We can talk about it afterwards as well. But to Gilles' point, just a sneak preview of what Cleeng Pro will bring.
We really wanted to copy a bit the model of MailChimp, how MailChimp succeeded, and it took us quite a while to figure this out, because it's a big risk you take as an organization, right, to get to that freemium model. But for the first time in our industry, in the SMS industry, you can have an SMS for free, up to 10,000 monthly subscribers, right? So if you stay at 9,500, basically you won't pay. But we are here to make sure that you continue to grow, right? That you reduce your churn, that you acquire more, and we think that's the right way to go, to incentivize people to absolutely experience, the right tool to create the right engagement. Earlier on, we were saying, we were talking quite a bit about engagement. And once you understood that, to realize that the platform will allow you, to connect the data together, to avoid these silos, and to be able to send the right campaigns, so to avoid what Sonia was referring to. So that's what we've been introducing. You can experience it on the website. We'll be mentioning one thing at the very end, but we are just announcing tonight. So of course that's the last teaser. But before doing this, we wanted also to have a bit of a return of experience, retour d'expérience. Je sais pas si on dit ça en anglais. Of course, please.
I mean, this is brilliant. Is it modular? Can someone choose which of those options to either turn on or turn off?
So in terms of options, you mean like merchant of record, and so part of this Pro offering, the goal is absolutely to go fast, right? So in order to go fast, we wanted to have a solution that is very homogeneous and very easy to deploy. So by default, it's integrated. And that's the target segment that we go after, that want this type of turnkey, easy to deploy solution. That being said, all the advanced enterprise features remain, right? So if you want to have specific channel activated in the US, Roku, or Amazon Prime, or Amazon Fire, Apple TV, absolutely this can be covered. With our enterprise package, we cover also Samsung, Vizio, a number of others. So this is all available as part of options, more in the enterprise package, or you can bundle also depending on the size.
Fabulous, thank you.
The Pro was announced 3 weeks ago. We have already about 100 sign-ups. We have signed our first 4 clients, or about to sign our first 4 clients in 3 weeks. So if you think about it, you know, compared to the past where you had the RFP, it would take like 12 months, 18 months, 4 clients in 3 weeks, I kind of like it. That's very good news. But it's not all. It's not all, right? Because we are thankful to you to stay that long. And in typical Apple standards, there's one last thing, one more thing. Who was last year at the Retention Zone Live, at our first Retention Zone Live? Okay, so about half of the people. Wonderful. Last year at Retention Live, you know, I did the typical silly thing of trying to predict, you know, 3 big trends, and we finished with that was one of the trends. I'm a huge believer that soon enough user interfaces will disappear, basically, and you start to see it. To be honest, when you go to ChatGPT, it's almost like Google in the early days, right? You have like a search bar, it's a prompt bar now. And from that prompt bar, it builds a website. If you go to Cloud Code, prompt bar, boom, and it builds a website. ChatGPT, it can generate appraisals, it can generate documents. Now it integrates even with Excel, with PowerPoint, you know, all this type of tools. So extremely, extremely powerful. And we're really thinking it would be so cool that soon enough, you don't need a dashboard. Because we all hate dashboards, right? Sure, either as you use many dashboards or you develop dashboards, but these dashboards are quite complex to experiment. You never know where to go, how to find what is relevant or irrelevant to you. So what if you get rid of the dashboard? Right? That was the story of a year ago. And we were saying hopefully by 26, 27, we'll get rid of the dashboard. Well, today we are not fully announcing it, it's more a sneak peek. We expect to have market release around the 15th of October. That's a plan for Damien, and I see Donald smiling also, and Cobra.
No pressure.
The plan is 15th of October, where we introduce this to all of our clients. And of course, this is in combination with what we just saw with Cleeng Pro. So we really want to go kind of mass market, if we could say so, but we don't want to support mass market, right? We don't have the financial capability to support hundreds of, hopefully thousands of clients. So we felt it would be great to have a dashboard that allows to be like fully context aware, meaning what do you need at that moment? Do you need a graph, or do you need help to integrate Roku, or do you need to know how to send a campaign, or do you need to set up a new offer or new pricing? It should work across the various sections of our own dashboard. So Damien showed a little bit, you can create your offer, or you can get the statistics, or you can get some of the customer care. So there's also different aspects there. And ideally, while everybody is talking about agentic AI, the use of specific small components which are able to automate given task with an external platform or components. What if we could do this? Well, that's very much what we've been working on. And I'm going to give you a quick demo. This one, I'll do it. We've been working very heavily on this with Damien, Cobra, and Aaron on our side. And basically, that's how it looks like. And this is real, right? These are screenshots, but this is exactly how it's currently functioning. We are really optimizing at the moment the performance. That's where we are. So as you get to the dashboard, that's your current dashboard. You get everywhere inside the platform, you get your AI-ssistant, and if you click on this, you get your typical use cases. So we help you already figure out a bit better, okay, what do you want to do today? What do you want to get some of the insights? You want to better understand how the churn is working or happening. Do you want to integrate some elements, or do you want to start some free trial? So very actionable. These are typical questions that people would do on our platform. And then as you enter a prompt, if you say, well, I'd like to integrate Cleeng or do the onboarding, so one of the key challenges as a SaaS company is onboarding, right? People create an account and they say, oh shit, it's so much to do here. Where do I start? So the AI assistant will assist you through these steps based also on the context that is aware. So if you are multi-country, if you are single offer, monthly only, yearly only, it knows exactly already where you stand. If you just created the account like 10 minutes ago, you are clearly a new user. If you created the account like 6 months ago, well, and you connected 20 times in between, the AI is familiar already with that type of context, who you are in terms of experience. And based on this, is repackaging the information that we've been taking years to build on our dev docs and FAQs and so on. We have extensive documentation on the website. I think we've been investing in this a lot in the past 4 years, really. Great video tutorials, great content, very complete API descriptions. But again, there's a lot. So here, basically, we train the models to just extract what is relevant and meaningful to you. So that's one example here about a bit more how to as you get to the platform. And as you discover the platform, you may say, well, that's good, but I'd like to create my first offer. So the AI assistant will also tell you, okay, to create an offer, this is the type of information I need. Just tell me more about this information. So you don't even need to find the section on the dashboard where to create the offer and to complete the various fields. No, it will tell you, okay, if you give me this type of information, I will create the offer on the fly. So back a bit to agentic models. Already, this is fully integrated into the core services that we have in our system. So to create a first offer, same would go with coupon. If you say, okay, I have a campaign, you can create a coupon campaign and it will be generated automatically. It's nice, so far, so good?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Of course, you may want to go a bit further, right? Because this is AI. So we have about 2,000 publishers that have been working on the platform in the past 10 years. We have petabytes of information related to churn and related to payment activities and what are the right price points per market for a given type of package. If you are into sport business, if you are into news business, if you want to deploy in the Middle East, in Australia, what would be the relevant price points? Actually, thanks to the data lake that we've been building now 6 years ago, we are able to expose this type of information extremely easily. And no company launching, hopefully tomorrow, would be able to have this type of information. So they might be able to replicate a similar solution to ours, but they won't have the data that is underlying for these responses. So the data, the AI solutions in the background is analyzing what are the best practices. So you see the type of bracket, these are not mock-ups, right? These are really like, if you ask this type of question, that's exactly what you would get. So you would get precisely the type of pricing suggestions or package suggestions that you should implement in your platform. And if you say, I like this, create it, back to my previous example, in one click, it will create the offer onto the platform. Okay? Is better? Supposed to be more interesting? Okay. Let's continue. Yes? All right. So, now that you've created your offers and you've been onboarded and you were integrating into Roku and Apples and the rest, you may say, okay, I don't really understand where my churn is happening. Where am I doing right? Where am I doing wrong? It's all a bit fuzzy and complex. Help me, right? Well, if you start to put some prompts like this, okay, simple prompts, this one, give me a view of this type of subscriber evolution. The AI tool will generate the graph, thanks to also the data lake we've been building, so it's Snowflake under the hood, Google Looker on top of it, and it's interacting again with this type of tools through agentic models, so to create immediately the graphs. So you get already something a lot better. But we felt this wouldn't be enough, right? Getting a graph is nice, but a guy with an Excel spreadsheet could do the same. What would be somehow more valuable is that you can get the insights. So currently, we think that the insights are best on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, but maybe too short to really generate meaningful insights, except if, of course, you have the volume behind it. But now you can ask actually the AI assistant to say, okay, help me identify the trends. What's going on with my platform last week? So not only you will be able to get the graph that substantiate this analysis, but you get immediately what is currently happening on your platform. Like here it says iOS or car declines by 26%. This is affecting your revenue by 7,000 euros in a week, right? Or $7,000. It's time potentially to do something. Is it better? It starts to be interesting. Okay. So we didn't stop there. We wanted to go even further. So once you know what is happening, we usually have struggled to say, okay, the problem is not to get the data. Potentially, the problem is not even to get the insights. The problem is to get from insight to actions. Who is getting that type of issues? Yes, insight to actions. Yes, struggle. Okay. See a lot of people nodding. So that's exactly what the tool is capable of doing. Not only it would generate, this is the same prompt. You get at the top, okay, these are the issues that you are facing, but then it would also prioritize how to solve this. It would tell you, okay, priority number one, fix the credit card at the moment because you are dropping a lot, and these are the recommended actions, targeted campaigns, analysis reason, da da da. You could create on the fly a campaign here into the tool. You could create another offer. So you are able to immediately convert insight into action from the AI assistant. So last steps is that you've been creating all of this. You created the offer, and it's just an example that we are giving in here in terms of agentic integration with Braze. You can very easily connect with a tool like Braze. If you would ask how to connect Braze, it would tell you, okay, these are the steps to go through, these are the prerequisites, you get really step by step how this could be done. And you are able to send the campaigns based on the insight that you just saw. So within like 10 minutes almost, or 10, 20 minutes, you get the insights, you generate the graph, you can send these graphs to your marketing team, business teams, and so on. These guys say it's pretty cool, do something about it. Okay, sure, I'm going to create the campaigns, prepares the emails. We are integrating also with email templates, and tools like Cloud and so on are able to generate email campaigns. We do see this as well for many of the clients that we have. So we have a good sense of what are the best practices, and you can send immediately this campaign. So that's what we plan to introduce as the first version mid of October, but for sure count on us next year. I'm presenting version 4 or version 5 already. We really want to move very fast. Thank you.